ko wātia te noa irui a mātou, ko wātia te taurukerekatanga, irui a mātou, ko wātia te herbert, so irui a mātou kia maranga mai mātou ki rui, ki te whakawhiti no kia tīna.
Moving on, I have apologies from Jane Walker, and up today, and Councillor Anne Court may have to leave the meeting early if we're not finished in time. She has a road and appointment.
No.
I'll move. Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Thank you, Jo. Those in support? Against? That's carried. Conflicts of interest. Member Deputy Chair Tyler Bamber has a conflict on item 7.1, the Turner Centre application for Ngātaonga Tākaro, due to the fact that he is employed here at the Turner Centre. So we will note that. Thank you, Henry. Right, moving straight into our speakers. We actually have, in public forum today, we have David Rees. David is here to speak to us about replacement gates in Kirikiri River Track, west of Rainbow Falls. If you'd like to come forward, it's the best place to stand here. We just, yeah.
Chair, gentlemen, starts through the chair. I have actually got a funding application that came in 2 days ago that will be coming to the next meeting. There's a few things I want to do first.
Welcome, David. You've got 5 minutes to address us.
Well, thank you very much. About 6 months ago, you gave us some funding. My name's David from How to the Kirikiri River Restoration Project. We'll give you a quick update on the project we are working with at the moment, which is the new gates west of Rainbow Falls. So in terms of the money that you gave us, one of the key things about our application was that the projects like ours rely on volunteers. We start with a small group, very enthusiastic, but if we get sick, we get bored, or decide to do other things, the whole thing falls on back. So one of the things we came to you with was we want help in our community engagement. So a part of the money that you gave us has been done that. And probably the big event was on April 25th. We had a conservation fair, which blew our minds because we haven't done one before. And we had 12 of the local conservation groups coming along and large organisations like Kiwi Coast and Te Akina Kirikiri. We had about 300 people. And we also work for schools and a rat challenge, rat catching competition. They estimated that 80 kids would get involved. We were just short of 200. So it was a mad, all around the way, trying to find rat boxes, and it was great. And that went really well. The other thing, and I should say, it's absolutely, unfortunately, Dane came along and gave out some of the prizes, which was wonderful. And we had great support. We had prizes for every one of the approximately 200 kids who turned up. The men shed made us these wonderful rulers, which they are now screwing onto the traps. And we're getting photos back from these kids with their rat traps, with their rats, with the rulers screwed on top, which is really good. We're also extending the trap lines. When we just started initially west of Kirikiri, Rainbow Falls on the north side. We've now got traps both sides of the river, and we're working to extend it all the way from Kapiti right through to State Highway 10. We had an initial conversation last year with Kipper about helping there, and basically it's yes. We've also talked to the people who are on the Kerry Fresh, the Bradley property, and we've got permission to go on there as well. And if you look up where that blue line is on the left, the big patch land on the left, which is opposite Quail Ridge. Now, we've heard Kiwi. Now, people in Quail Ridge think the Kiwi's on their side, but just looking at the map, it says unlikely it's going to be on the south side of the river on the KFO property. So the only thing stopping us right now is more volunteers, which we're working on. On Sunday, we did one of our first trap walks where we've got, I think, half a dozen potential volunteers coming along, show them how it works, show what's involved, etc. Currently, as the latest data, as of Wednesday night when I looked at it, we've taken out nearly 2,500 pests from the river. In fact, this year alone, we've taken just over 460. So, and one of the nice things, it's sad that in New Zealand, essentially a lot of conservation is about killing stuff. But the real joy is the life that's coming back. Both, if you walk along there now, the Pururi flowers, there's more of them. Right? There's a lot more bird life. And as I've been trap maintenance a couple of weeks ago, And a guy came and asked what we're doing. He said, he's walked that river for 20 years and never heard so much birdsong. Now, it's a long way to go. What we're getting. Main project I'd like to talk about quickly now is the Kissing Gates, which are west of Rainbow Falls. We were approached by a woman last year whose mother is confined to a wheelchair. We've also been approached by mothers who used to be able to take their kids on and they can't. The Kissing Gates is such you can't get a wheelchair through, you can't get a push-it. Good news, thanks to Robin there from the council, we had some conversations and I did some investigation. I found a design which will keep out the motorbikes, but will give access to wheelchairs, will give access to mothers and their babes in wheelchairs. We've got the design, we've got a builder, we've got a quote, we've got permission from the council, we can do it. So with the help of a businesswoman in Kitty, whose mother is in a wheelchair, we're now starting a fundraising process. And it's going to cost about $2,500 per gate, which is replacing the gates that are in the images with ones that are basically, they're called Scottish kissing gates, because Scotland is very proactive in making access to the outdoor spaces. And they've designed gates that give access to wheelchairs. So it's been looked at by the relevant people. So that's what it is now. Perfect place for somebody with limited ability to enjoy the stunning river we have here. And they can't get through it. This design will allow that to happen. So that's where we're at. And we're using some of the money that you've given us to just basically try and increase community participation. We're now on the hunt for more money to basically fund 3 of those. 3 gates are on that part of the track. And once we replace that, then people with mobility issues, mobility limitations, are going to be able to access what is a beautiful part of the river. And, I've been along there and seen trout in it, but I've not realised we've got rainbow trout in there. So that's where we're at. And thank you again for the money you gave us. We're trying to use it wisely. We're getting a lot more community engagement. We're getting more interest from the community about joining and becoming a part of this. So thank you.
Thank you, David. And we will obviously get your funding application in the next round in June.
Thank you.
And there are cool t-shirts. How many games? T-shirts.
3.
Yeah, t-shirt.
One again, where the back bit is, those gates there once further in. And they're the main ones we want to basically change it. They're right just past the caravan park, up from Rainbow Falls through there. Beautiful area to walk. And perfect for somebody with mobility issues.
There's a bridge on there too, and that's fine.
At the moment it is, yes. Again, I'm jumping ahead. But being totally honest with you, that one thing at a time. So let's get the gates. The bridge is not ideal, but it's not a total no game.
David, I know we'll get the application, but I just did have a question about the kissing gates, and obviously there'll be a story to those.
Sorry?
The existing kissing gate, there will be a story, I assume, to that, and how they came about.
I don't know the story. Robin may want to comment, but they are standard designs used in New Zealand. They keep out stock, keep out motorbikes, they're easy to make. But when they were built, nobody was thinking of what about somebody in a wheelchair.
Yes. Yeah.
They were often used in your rural areas and farms, and my assumption, without any real knowledge, was that was the standard New Zealand design. Let's use it.
Yeah. So it wasn't a historical thing that's been replaced, and now we're looking to replace it again.
As far as I know, when they upgraded the track, they were put in to stop basically people on motorbikes.
Thank you. Did you have a question?
I think it was almost identical to this.
So, just out of curiosity, I heard you say truck.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, I thought I heard you say truck.
Yeah, that's right, river.
Sorry, I did, yeah.
Yeah, I did. That's such a wonderful. You can walk along the back where that bridge is, just past there. I can see there's a lovely sort of hole. Yes, it's definitely rainbow trout there.
So, and one last question: does that make that entire track from Rainbow Falls to the one upper this parking area thing fully accessible?
There's one bit sort of like weed alley. If you go in there, it gets a bit of a dirt track and it bends a bit. That would be difficult.
Yeah.
Some people in wheelchair group, some couldn't.
Okay.
But I would say 3/4 along the way. It's as in that picture. It's just flat. It's gravel, and it'd be great. Yeah.
save our questions and discussion when we've got all the information in front of us. But thank you, I did get those circulated.
Okay, thank you.
Next one. Okay, just before we move on to the deputations, just in my announcements here, I have a reminder to the communities to nominate your unsung heroes for the Lifetime Achievement Awards have come around again, and we have information on the District Council website for how you can actually nominate somebody to do that. All right, moving on, David. We have David Craig to do a deputation. This is about the proposed pump track that he for the Kitty Domain, which was discussed and did form part of the original engagement and consultation over the development of the domain. So over to you, David.
Thanks. Basically, I guess originally in the skate park kind of development, it was an area designated for a future pump track, and kind of like now the future. And pretty much dedicated skate park. And all the other skaters and everything come and ask me, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? So therefore, I'm kind of like the voice of the kids in the community. And I guess trying to move forward to basically make a concrete pump track happen. I do know there's other asphalt ones in Northland or whatever, which don't do very well. Concrete ones are great for skateboarding because in the heat of the summertime, they don't get hot and soft because skateboard fields are under the And basically, I've been to the domain meeting and had a consultation with them. They're on board, they agree. So step 2 is talking to you guys to get you guys on board and then to see where I can take it from there for the local community and make it happen.
Thanks, David. And
basically, it's a concrete sidewalk that has lumps and bumps in it. It's a really simple way to explain it.
Chair, I have a question. The person in the room can't read your map, and I sincerely apologise. Can you show me where the world is on that?
Yeah,
It's marked the spot.
this is basically the existing track that goes around the domain.
Yeah.
It will go like that. Yes. So what I'm led to believe, I did approach the council and asked, hey, look, your kids are asking this, can we make this happen? And they said, well, first you have to go to the domain meeting, and then you have to go to the community board meeting to get them on side. So I've done the domain meeting, I'm now at the community board meeting, and, you know, with you guys, you know, hopefully support, then maybe someone could tell me where I go next to kind of keep the ball rolling. I mean, I would like to do it kind of more as a community project. I am personally willing to donate design, management, et cetera, as, you know, like a community business person. But I mean, depending on how it all works, whether it has to go to a project company and have, you know, 3 tenders, et cetera, you know, that changes the budget horrendously. But, you know, hopefully if we can keep it simple, I'd like to see it happen in the summertime.
And where's the closest place then that people have to go to if they want to use a pump track?
I believe there's a couple in Kaitaia, but they're asphalt and very poorly designed. There's also some in Mangapai, several there. But for myself, all the ones I ride are actually in Australia and America.
And so I didn't actually even know what a pump track was before I joined the community board. So and it sounds like a great idea. In a nutshell, how popular would it be?
They're actually very popular. I mean, they're like, the kids absolutely love them, like these guys.
Yeah.
And then the dads absolutely love them because, you know, they've lost their, you know, they're not going to ride the big ramp anymore, they're scared. But all the kids skate and all the dads are hanging there sitting, and all the surfers and everything, they all love the pump track because it's basically just going, woo. But, you know, you hold your momentum and you keep going, and it is a buzz, and it does give you adrenaline, and adrenaline is happiness. So, you know, it's a good thing. Also, you've got the full crossover from snowboarders and skiers and all of the winter sport people that actually use that. And then there is another flip side that people like myself who get injured use it for fitness and health.
Really selling it, thank you.
We did have a couple of inquiries from members of the community, which is why we had this whole conversation. And I think we established there was one at Waitangi.
Oh, there is actually one.
By the entrance.
Yeah. No, it's in Pai here.
It's one.
Yeah, it's very.
Well, no, it says here, I'm reading the website, because this is what I did, the contract right at the entrance.
Oh, okay.
It's quite new, David, you probably didn't use it.
No, I didn't know that one. There is one in Pai here that's basically almost designed for bicycles and very like.
And it's a contract just by the entrance.
So there is quite a difference between a skateboard one and a mountain bike one. As in the skateboard one, like skateboard wheels are approximately 50 millimeters, and, you know, bicycle wheels are 26 inches, you know, so, you know, ours are quicker and theirs are longer.
So quite a difference.
Yeah, but the crossover is everybody can ride them. They just, you know, like I would never go on one for a mountain bike because I'd be pushing all the time. But, you know, they can actually cross over on a skateboard one, and it's still pretty fun.
So in terms of the project, I think what we did in Kaitaia, I was involved in the pump tracks up there with a couple of boys, and they're hugely popular, I've got to say. I just think we need a decision-making report that we will, with the council agencies about the approval to do it. Would the council
Be expected to pay for it, or would you fundraise and do a community project like a face making project?
Option A sounds good.
The councils with the 0 rate caps and all of that kind of thing. You may be quicker with option B, but you know, there's different models. How much roughly did a pump track cost?
You know, again, what I said, it depends whether how much paperwork and red tape and everything as well.
20K or 100K?
No, not 100, north of 20K, but, you know, in the 20 to 40K kind of thing is, you know, kind of semi-acceptable.
Okay, what can we on the table, Madam Chair? We need to start.
Yeah, I think where we're at with this, David is having gone to the domain advisory group and getting support. Rick is really our key conduit there in relation to reserves, and we do have a reserve management plan over that domain. So it's a case of processes as to whether we will have to go back and engage with the community, which of course is more time. You know, it has been through part of the process. Robert, I don't know if you want to comment on how you feel the best way forward with this is.
So in terms of getting landowner involved, for some things like custom gates, then obviously the facilities team can give approval for a fairly low cost asset, and then other processes like perhaps a stage at the Kitty domain that definitely moves through a community board and council. I had not made a decision on the process and have been guided by the community board. Certainly, if there are any calls to at any stage, then I think oral reporting is needed. But as you say, it does take a lot.
So hopefully we can get things moving and get something through today and address it in our open resolution sheet so it gets captured.
Pretty great. I mean, that can help, or people trying to buy and follow up on it to save council time or something. Great.
Well, sorry, man, I want to speak up because I don't think he disclosed some of the work that you've already done. So you built the park there, right?
I with Florence Anderson did a lot of the work to the first skate park in Kirikiri. That was when I moved here, coming back from America. And since then, you know, as time went on, that park was about 22 years old. And then I worked with the community to design and build the new skate park there.
Also the building copy, is it right?
Yes, yeah, just did the upgrade and some maintenance on that.
We spoke about putting it out to the, track records and also encourage us to.
And then I guess at the end of the day, there's a concrete sidewalk, so the design is not great, or, you know, like this has to be an IMBA concrete with mesh in it, pretty much.
Madam Chair, community project that the supports. So, you know, if we're happy to do a community project, you know, that the different sort of flavours with, you know, big tender or.
Yeah, unfortunately I do own a construction company and I have a pretty good roll with extra friends I spend lots of money with, so I was kind of relying on it.
And Kyle's keen to get one too, so yeah, that one.
Did you have a known reputation in Kitty? So, and definitely
I moved here to get rid of
the economic benefit of what you have been involved in developing too has been not blowing your own trumpet, of course. You've brought some pretty amazing events here and international acts too. So
yeah, I mean, you know, but the skate park in Kirikiri, this year alone, we had Women's World #1, Suho Hasakawa from Japan come and train here and hang with me for a week or so. We also had Mia Pritza from Perth in Australia, and she is the youngest woman ever to win an X Games gold medal. Also came and trained at Kirikiri with us for a week or so. And New Zealand #1, Zealand fellow citizen Monica, him and his family are regulars up here to train, and he is currently skating in Italy, and next week he goes to Japan to skate Worlds to try and get into the Olympic Games. So the success of the skate park behind the scenes is actually pretty rad, you know, so amazing people come here, you know.
we need to tell those stories so that communities are aware.
It's pretty amazing because she is like dominating, you know, world #1. She did not win the gold medal at the Olympics, but since then she has won the last 24 contests in a row kind of thing. So she's pretty amazing.
Cool.
Any more questions today? Thank you for your exciting work.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
To move ahead and provide, particularly for the youth, this way.
Thank you.
Shannon.
He's going to address us on behalf of 35 landowners affected by the conditions on Fargo Road. So if he comes later, yes, we can slot him in. So next up we have speakers for our funding application 7.1 on page 32. John Rosach.
Close enough.
Close.
Good everyone. Thank you. My name is John Ojaka. I'm the president of Kitty Theatre Company. I'm also the producer of our upcoming production of the Rocky Horror Show. I'm here today with my co-producer, Judy Terry. She's also the treasurer at Kitty Kitty Theatre Company, and my wife, Kashama Jane. She's going to be directing the Rocky Horror Show. We've got a few little documents just to quickly pass out. I'll reference it in just a second so you can see a few things. If it's okay, I'm very worried about missing a few things, so I did write up something. I'm going to read that rather than go off the cuff, because I'm sure I will skip right over some important things if I do. But here goes. So a little bit of context. The Rocky Horror Show, if you're not familiar with it, is one of the most beloved rock and roll musicals of all time. It is outrageous, it's funny, it's bold, it's strange, it's full of heart, and it's one of the great audience participation shows. Many people know the film, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and the culture that grew around it, with audiences dressing up and singing along, calling out, and becoming part of the whole experience. That sense of shared fun has carried through into the live stage show as well. For us, this production is especially significant. We worked for years to secure the rights, and we are honored to be the very first community theatre group in the history of Australasia to be granted the rights to produce the Rocky Horror Show. We're also the only community theatre group on the North Island to be granted the rights throughout 2026, and as far as potentially longer. That is not something that we take lightly. It is a rare opportunity, and we want to do it properly. There is also a New Zealand thread that runs through the Rocky Horror Show, which is Richard O'Brien, who created the Rocky Horror Show. He has deep ties to New Zealand and to Hamilton, where the early seeds of the show were formed. So while Rocky Horror is now this international phenomenon, it also has a very real connection to Aotearoa. Kashama and I were also the team behind Little Shop of Horrors, which we staged here at the Turner Center 2 years ago. Some of you may have seen that production. And this board was kind enough to support us with set funding for that show as well. We hope we did you proud. For Little Shop, we built a real city in the Turner Center. There are, I believe, some pictures in those documents. It climbed roughly 6.5 meters into the rafters, and by all accounts is one of the largest sets we've ever brought into this space. That set was not just a decoration, it was what allowed audiences to step into another world. And that really is where theater truly shines. A great set helps remove the ordinary details of everyday life, and it replaces them with something heightened, imaginative, and alive. It creates a world that audiences can enter together. It allows people to dream a little bigger, to feel something, to laugh together, to be surprised together, and to leave feeling that something special just happened in their own community. That is the kind of experience that we're trying to create with the Rocky Horror Show. We know that when a community sees people from its own town reaching for that level, it has an impact. It sends a signal that big, ambitious, creative things can happen here, not just in Auckland, not just in Wellington, not overseas, right here in Rome. After Little Shop of Horrors, the feedback we received was not just, this was a fun night. It was people saying things like they felt proud to live in the community, proud of the talent here, and amazed that a production of that scale could happen locally. And there are some samples, just a very small sampling of the hundreds of similar sort of unsolicited testimonials that came in through social media. Now, we want to bring as much of that big theater experience as we can to Kitty Kitty and to Northland. And while that might sound ambitious, we have shown that it can be done. Little Shop of Horrors helped build a stronger relationship with NAPTA, that's the Northern Area Performance Theater Awards. To our knowledge, NAPTA had never come this far north to see a Kitty Kitty production before, but after several years of relationship building, they came up for Little Shop, and the production went on to receive multiple nominations, including Outstanding Set Design, which is especially relevant to what we're asking for today, and Outstanding Musical, their most prestigious award. That recognition helped show that the work being done here in Kitty Kitty could stand alongside productions from much larger theater communities. It also helped open the door for NAPTA to return for our next major production, God of Carnage, which received 6 nominations and ultimately 1 outstanding play. To us, that is a clear example of the wider impact that the board's support can have. It does not just help us build a set for one show, it helps raise the standard, visibility, and ambition of theater in Northland. But productions like this do take an enormous amount of work and money to stage. We are a non-profit community organization, and a show like Rocky Horror involves months of planning, months of rehearsal, set construction, costumes, props, lighting, sound, musical preparation, health and safety considerations, venue costs, rights, and promotion. Even when a show sells well, it is very difficult to cover the true costs of mounting it at this level. And if there is any surplus, it goes straight back into the theater company, our youth theater work, future productions and the basic costs of keeping a largely volunteer arts organization alive. I know that ultimately the question before you all is, what is the impact of $12,500 on the community? And the answer is this: it will help us build the world of the show. It will help us create a set that is safe and strong and visually exciting and worthy of the rare opportunity that we've been given. It will help turn thousands of volunteer hours into something the whole community can experience. It will allow local performers, builders, painters, designers, musicians, crew, and volunteers to be part of something that stretches them and gives them pride in what they can achieve. And it will give audiences in our region a night that feels bigger than a normal night out, a night that makes people proud where they live. We are not asking you to support a private hobby or a vanity project. We are asking you to help us create a community event that brings people together, develops local talent, supports the arts, and adds to the cultural life in Northland. We will pour everything we have into this production regardless, because that's what we do. But with your support, we can build the standard that the opportunity deserves, without placing the full weight of the cost on what is largely a volunteer community organization. So we are incredibly grateful for the support this board has shown us in the past, and we would be honored if you saw value in supporting us again. Thank you for your time and consideration. Are there any questions?
Thank you, John. Just, that was great.
Thanks.
And just want to point out to you that you have asked for $12,500
Yes.
as recommendation, and our agenda today is for $10,000.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Sure.
It's crucial that you receive $12,500.
Sure. It is crucial for us to find that money for this set. And of course, we'll appreciate anything that comes our way. If there is room to consider that the true costs are $12,500, we certainly appreciate it. But as I say, any help that comes our way is incredibly valuable.
And you're asking for this for the set design?
Yes.
And materials.
Yes.
I'd like to start off with my first question. Sure. Really is, if we were to contribute to the set, how much of that is recyclable or reusable?
The huge majority of it is technically recyclable. For example, Little Shop, we still have all of those pieces. They're at our theater company. They become part of what we use in the future. In fact, we're doing 12 Angry Men coming up, and they're using parts of those bricks that took us 2 months to make. Those bricks were so much work up for Little Shop of Horrors. So yeah, I can't think of anything that's not actually recyclable. Will every bit of it get recycled? Probably not, but it remains in our tools, our tool set for future productions.
Thank you.
John, I'm clearly really familiar with your work, and I'm no doubt that you will deliver this to a high level of creative excellence.
Thank you.
My only question is, I recently showed this movie to my niece, trying to educate her around important movies of our time. And I was really quite overwhelmed by how smutty it is. And I just wondered, you must have considered that and how that might affect the audience appeal and how you're going to manage that. Because I think we get a lot of your, you position most of your shows as being family. Not that every single one, but a lot of them as family. And it is quite.
Absolutely. I mean, we do all sorts of shows. Obviously, as you know, we do shows that cater to younger audiences and older audiences. We regularly do youth productions. This is for an older audience. Right. I would highlight that there are differences between the show and the movie. The movie can get into some. I think it almost needs to, based on how cinema works, to sort of get into some more of those details. Where in the show, it's a little larger than life. For example, the professional show did do an international tour recently, and they were 12 and up. So it's even on that standard, it's not for little kids. You're definitely right, but it's also accessible to teens. And while audience size wise, it does have an impact when we do something like what was the Sound of Music. Yeah. Of course, we sell 2,400 tickets because we have that huge. It crosses every social sort of dynamic, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not dynamic, but you know, demographic. That was the word I was looking for. And this won't. But it is such a legendary show. I believe this is correct, that it's the longest running film in history in the sense that somewhere at any time the Rocky Horror Picture Show is playing. It's very loved, and we are expecting, for example, if the auditions were any indication, it was a record-setting turnout for that, and we think we're expecting to hit our targets and then some.
Good, excellent, thanks, Jen. Chair. So we've known you over life and the Australians, and I appreciate the way you kind of do one really big one and then you do little ones. Last year, did you cover your costs? Did you break even?
For Little Shop of Horrors?
No, just
the theater company is very healthy. We're bringing in a substantial amount of revenue, but we have a substantial amount of cost.
Yeah, but you've got the asset now that the theatre that you're able to rent out.
Yes.
I guess my question revolves around if you don't get funding from the other funders that you've got still outstanding.
Yeah.
Will you still be able to put the show on with your reserves and?
I would mortgage my house. This has been.
So your committee, I guess what I'm saying is, I mean, I'm looking at your results for 2024, so I don't know how it is, but you're not on the focus of your proverbial. You look like you are managing your assets, Madam Treasurer, and you're on top of things. So I'm confident that.
Yes.
Unless something happened last year, we don't know that. But
we never have riches, and we're never so comfortable that we can relax. But we're in a very good. We're in as good of a place as we've ever been.
Thank you.
And have you had any more further response since we've gone to print with your pending like Creative Communities, Oxford Trust?
Yes, I don't want to speak. And then do you want to? First. So Oxford Trust did come in for approximately 4,800. And well, I actually am not sure what is in the application.
Creative Communities, you had 2,000 business sponsorships by and pub charity the latter round. So that's.
We have not heard from those last two, but we did receive. What did we receive? That 12,000.
I think it's
Oxford Trust.
Oh,
yeah. Charity.
Oh, the previous round.
We have had very early invitations just from one conversation.
And the ticket sales are based on what occupancy?
What percentage do we put in? We always go safe, we don't want to be caught off guard, so we put in for 900. We budgeted everything around 900 tickets. So
about 80.
It's probably about 80. I don't want to misspeak, but if we go up 360.
No. I just want to see that you're being conservative.
Yeah.
How many shows will this start?
Right now it's 4 shows. I think there's the chance that the sales are very strong and we slip in a 5th, but right now 4.
Cool.
Questions?
How many did you have show up for auditions? You said that was strong.
It was something 44, something like that.
Cool.
And how many do you require?
14.
And they're mainly local.
They're all local, right? There's not many. The furthest, if there's one coming from Tonga, but the rest are all here.
Yeah.
We have some very special cast stuff I really can't talk about because it's not 100%, but it's going to be cool.
Yeah, who's playing the narrator? Great to be all that.
We all rust together.
You'll have to shiver with anticipation.
Well, to go one question. The set itself, will it be housed here on site or will you be cutting it?
We'll be bringing it in. We'll pack in. I think it's about 10 days out from the show. So gives us a couple of days to get it up. Then we're bringing in our lighting person to program everything. We have a fantastic lighting designer that's coming. She's the only one that I can think of that's actually coming, and she comes from Ireland. She's a real fantastic artist that brings things to the next level. But we'll be building it, probably a combination of different locations because it's going to be so big. We have our little black box theater, but I don't know that it's going to fit on there. So,
if anyone knows anyone who shared.
I Okay, well, thank you, John.
Thank you.
For an excellent presentation, and we'll be making a decision with relation to the meeting.
All right, thank you so much.
Enjoy your day.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. See you.
Presentation. So moving on to item 6.1, information to previous minutes. Just a couple of amendments here before I pop this. On page 15, 8.2, resolution to readmit the public. It should be to exclude the public. And then on the last page 16, just consistency in B, we refer to the Bay Islands-Whangaroa community in that Taupo Bay resolution. Just want to insert the word board. Before Islands-Whangaroa community board. And then the bottom line underneath that to councillor and Bay Islands-Whangaroa community board chair ex officio, just for consistency. So I'll put that the Bay Islands-Whangaroa community board confirm the minutes of the meeting held 9th of April 2026 as a true and correct record. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Jane. Seconder? Tyler? Good. Rising support? Yes, that's carried. Right, now we'll go straight into page 17, item 7.1. So I'll take these individually. That the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board approved the sum of $678 plus GST if applicable be paid from the board's community grant account to Oakwood Pest Plant Control, cost towards vests and glacier printing. Have a mover? Jane, seconder. Jane is mover.
Yes, it's a small amount of money that's going to help some a lot of good. I'm pleased that they've got additional quotes for the vest, which has brought the money down. I don't know whether they actually pushed on their page because it was really too expensive on the vests. So yeah, it's a good community project.
Through the chair, Member Hindle last month asked me to go back to them with some things, and one of the questions you asked was whether they'd approached NRC. NRC said, yeah, we can give you vests, but it's going to have all of this stuff on it, and whatever was on there they felt was not appropriate for their organisation. So
that's good.
No further discussion around that. I put that to the vote, $678. I like how we rounded it up. I hate cents.
Well, is that support? I mean, we have a private place rather than
quite comfortable with it out of the community grant fund. Bearing in mind we do have place-making projects on the table.
yeah. And through the chair, next month, all of your money will be. So we start stressing.
Okay.
I've already got $72,000 worth of applications for next month. Technically today.
Thank you for discussing it.
No, it's just that I thought we have money to think that was being used, but
we did when we spoke a week and a half ago.
Okay. Against, it's carried. Thank you. And abstaining. From all vote again.
From all funding.
Yeah. Okay.
Madam Chair, on the next one, can I just check a conflict of interest before we get to this? Double check. My husband is no longer on the committee of the Kerry Theatre Company. However, he is directing a play for the Kerry Theatre Company, and I just want to understand whether that would put me into a conflict of interest.
Not this. He's not true. He's not directing.
He's not directing.
He does get paid. Does he get paid to do it?
No, you don't get paid to do that work, but I just want to double check, that's all. He has been a past president of the Kerry Theatre Company, but he's no longer a president or a member of the committee.
I'm quite comfortable. Yeah.
I'm fine.
No, it's not fair. Thank you for clearing that, Joe. So we'll go to the discussion. And the recommendation is to approve the sum of $10,000. I'm happy to open it at the requested amount of 12.5 for debate. Plus GST if applicable be paid from the board's community grant fund account to Kitty Kitty Theatre Company for cost towards the production of the Rock and Fire Picture Show. Do I have a mover? Jane?
That's over.
And Roddy? Was that Roddy, thank you. Jane?
Madam Chair, I'd like to foreshadow an amendment to the full amount listed. The reason for that is because I am concerned they will not get all of the other funding they're seeking. It's a very simple amount that's set, and we have sufficient funds to grant the full amount, and they're going to do a great job, but us going to have to spend and save.
Seconder Roddy, are you happy with that foreshadow amendment?
I'm confused. I thought you moved the full amount.
I put it for discussion.
Yeah. So
The recommendation is for 10, but yes, you're right, Anne.
So we don't need a foreshadow amendment.
Okay.
And seconder Roddy, do you want to speak to the $12,500?
I think it's costing to them and they've been here before and they've been successful in what they do to the community. But not only that, they open up a pathway for both community and a wider audience to come to Kerikeri. And that's a fire. And so, we have people who are willing to do this type of thing and share their talents and are successful at it. Which creates us a big revenue for our shops and allows the various businesses in our community. We should be supporting them.
Thanks, Roddy. Any other discussion?
John and Kashana, both of them have got a really strong reputation for delivering really high standard of theatre. And it would continue to reflect really well in this district that we can deliver. We can bring together talent from across the area and deliver to such a high standard that gets attention outside of the district.
Totally. I just, through the chair, I'd like to speak in favour of it too. I think pretty much everything's been encapsulated by what's been said before. I also happen to know the last time when they did Little Shop of Horrors, the builder who charged what he charged did a ton more work than what he actually charged for to get the sets built. You know, they get what they can out of the community to put on a show that quite literally is sort of Broadway level, you know, type stuff that we're talking about. In little old kitty, you know. And we're punching above our weight with this one, I think, and well worth it, man.
Okay. No further discussion. I'll put it to the vote. $12,500 for Kitty Kitty Theatre Company. Those in support? Against? Abstain?
Abstain.
And our final application is for the sum of $1,331 plus DST applicable from the Boys Community Grant Fund account for the centre for cost towards the Tonga Tākaro School Holiday Workshop. I'll move. Do I have a second now? Yeah. John, thank you. I don't have a lot to say about this. I'm very supportive of it. Happy to pass over to you, Jo, for any comments or questions. And not only the school holiday.
I mean, it sounds fantastic. I wasn't 100% sure whether it had been delivered in that format before, whether it was a new idea.
New understanding, I'm aware. And
then that feels like, you know, a really positive contribution to the program here. So definitely supportive of it.
And Chair, I'm familiar with William Sarich. She's worked with me over a number of years. He's an excellent facilitator to keep young people who are able to live real lives in the program.
Familiar with this work. And, you know, across the board in the district, there aren't many holiday programs, let alone after-school programs, so this is a small investment, something.
Comments? Right. Which is a vote then. $1,331 for the centre Also school holiday workshop. Those in support? It's carried. Yeah, Twilight Star.
And through the chair, that leaves you at $105,379 for your last meeting of the year total. As I say, I already have $72,000 worth of applications.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to grant all of that, but those are the applications we have. But we've also got a couple of reports coming in for additional.
Okay, so moving on, item 7.2 on page 53. Right, Chairperson and members' reports. The Islands-Whangaroa Community Board note the April 2026 member reports from Chair Belinda Ward, Member Joe Alexander, Member Dane Wilcock, Member Jane Hindle. Do you have a mover? Yep. Thank you, Joe. Second number. Thanks, Jane. Joe, please start.
In terms of me talking to my report?
Just any questions for you, we can take it as read.
Yeah.
Anything you want to highlight?
No.
Any questions for Joe? No, so we'll move on. Dane's not here.
Just in regard to Dane, please record my sincere appreciation for the work that he is doing in trying to navigate a solution at the New World Cafe to address the needs of my disabled community, and I say mine because I hold the accessibility portfolio, and I'm extremely concerned that there have been reports to me of injuries occurring where pedestrians have been struck, so I feel grateful for everything.
This has been an ongoing issue, Council project. It was quite historical. Those causes of ingress and egress, particularly the one by the where you come through the pizza place. Is that the area he's referring to? Yes.
Yeah. Through the chair, yeah, as an extension of Anne's earlier work, yeah, Dane has been engaging with recent folks with New York, right? Both meetings, covering the trees and doing some clarity around when that work will happen, but particularly around the exit point into Q2. We have seen that the exit where the McDonald's and the business complexes, they have been built. There are soft ones there now, but in which period that's helping reduce transfer safer in that space. But we're working with the Grow team to come up with a solution for that. So, similarly with our concept of Ken, I think a few years ago we had a conversation around some media about driver behaviour, and Tom's team are very keen to pick up some of that work.
Brilliant, Chair, through you. I would love to see a video done that we could put on social media that could demonstrate the challenges to somebody who had the mobility, who has restricted mobility. So we could show the challenges that they have in trying to navigate also entry and exit points, because I think drivers have forgotten largely that they're required to stop and go away. And if you can see the world through the lens of somebody who say is in a wheelchair or has slow gait or a visual impairment, perhaps we might just change the minds of one or two drivers. I'm delighted if Dane would fund that.
Is there anything on the footpath? Any markers on the footpath itself, the pedestrian area? Because I know, like, with placemaking, it's amazing what painted pictures do. I recall when Kararaka, they painted some penguins as you come off the hills across the road. And it was sort of a directing people where to walk without even thinking about it. Like placemaking, just simple.
Well, through the chair, one of the things they actually have at the New World up here is that it's painted a big red thing across the pedestrian crossing. It's big and it's red, and if you can't see that, you should not be driving. So, just clarify what Stephen was saying in terms of the resolution or the suggested resolution for the other spot. That's almost identical to that, which is where you're saying where the McDonald's and the what happened there. You mentioned it briefly, and I didn't understand what had happened.
So yeah, through the chair, so previously that exit entry had similar concerns as to the New York exit around pedestrian safety, drivers often breaching the footpath.
Okay.
So pedestrians were unable to sort of use the footpath in their own right. They were the ones that were priority. So that led to a conversation around FNDC knowledge of the road code and driver behaviour. I don't know the specific events or the actions that were taken to have that area painted. It is very recent, so we can follow up and find out.
But it's been painted, is that what's actually happened?
Yes.
Okay. And that so far seems to have...
So the yellow lines where they're painted is on private property. So at the moment with the New World situation on that exit, it's clarifying on something the resource consent.
Right.
In terms of are they responsible for the lines on their side, or is council responsible for the lines over the footpath? So that's to be resolved. Likewise, probably is the perspective that perhaps the resource consent is outdated given the growth of Kirikiri, the township, and the usage of New World. So all of that saying is that both parties really like to have a resolution. It's just figuring out who is responsible for who, for what, and then working together to actually have some mindset. Through Dane, he has expressed that New World has directly received a lot of complaints from the community in terms of how pedestrians experience footpaths and that. So.
Thanks for clarifying, Steve.
Thanks for that, and Councillor Court, and in Jane's absence, Peter, we'll get him to follow through for it. He's obviously taken that one up, and it's historical, and it really has compounded the growth of Kirikiri. Moving on, Jane.
Yes, well, we box on with our various projects. I'm pleased to report that we are really close to finalising a street design budgets. We had a meeting yesterday. We've got outstanding issues still with OPA, but we'll have got the geotech report. And things are moving forward, but they are quite slow in how they're being progressed. A lot of those issues are all in train.
So as a local government, New Zealand, zoning rep, can we at this point is that Jane be included in the government reform steering group? As a recommendation, can we have it in our resolution?
And for everybody that's keen to upskill and learn more, we have a Zoom meeting on Monday at 5 for community board members, which is the community board executive. And it's a introduction, it's some of the basic stuff. There will be an update on their view. They've got their policy manager presenting on the restructure of local governments and where community boards look like they might fit in. I really encourage everyone to attend. They'll send out an email reminding everybody tomorrow. We timed it so that people can hopefully do it after work, but before they get the evening completely underway. So yeah, it would be good if people did show up. We've put a bit of effort into putting it together. So probably Monday.
The invite's already gone out.
I'll do it Monday tomorrow.
Thank you. Any questions for Jane?
Just one, Madam Chair. I noted your comments around the Kerry Road works. And you said in the there was a case of shooting in Messenger. Was it because that they were unaware that the works were progressing and there's some lessons learned here?
I'm happy that the council staff have learned some lessons. The fact of the matter was that I was sent by a staff member who was doing the road closure information about what was happening so I could promote it on social media. Because I recently met with the client committee, I forwarded it to them and said, I'm sure you've got this. And they hadn't. And they weren't happy with me, which was unfortunate because I wasn't the person organising everything. So I've come to go on. You need to, apparently one of the issues was this before and no lessons were learned. So this time, hopefully some lessons are learned.
So I'm clear, so I can chase this up my road portfolio.
Yeah.
There was a road closure that was meant to be advised to the Mariah and the Mariah had not received the notice.
The whole community was meant to have a mail drop to tell them about the road closure. A road closure on that particular location at this particular time was particularly challenging because of the Helena Bay situation with the back road being closed. It literally strands a section of the community who are trapped in Concord after hours. So that was a real issue. They've now worked through the plan again and they are now not closing the road, which begs the question why they didn't do that first.
Thank you for that clarification. Very helpful.
Through the chair, there's no here. So the instance of Joe, and there's many other instances of surprises. So we're currently working through democracy services that community board work, and it's really elevating the role of community board coordinators and the other staff, so that they are really keeping matters that could be impact on community board members, so that community board members are equipped with the information to be able to resource to the community application for their communities and social concerns around those works.
For example, yesterday, the road department did a massive clear of all the vegetation, and I have no idea if with umpteen immediate slasher that went through the town, and there was a lot of debris on the road. I had a few phone calls of unhappy people. It would have been really helpful if I perhaps had known about it in advance, to warn the people. It's just, it's a communication issue, it really is.
I have ripped your page out and I'm taking it with me this afternoon to my portfolio.
Okay, any more questions for Jane? Moving on to mine. Okay, actions are read. It's getting very busy with meetings and workshops at council.
Again, I'd like to just, through you, Madam Chair, do a huge shout out to the community board chairs who really do as much work as a councillor, but are not recognised and are not remunerated for it. I can't think of a time that I've not turned up to chambers for a meeting or a workshop and the chairs are not there. And I don't think that's recognised. And I'd just like to do my personal appreciation shout out to you, because I can from here, to say thank you for always being there and for your dedication and your contribution.
Any questions on my report? I think the one I want to just point out at the very end of my report, we have a staff member who has gone to great lengths to source some flagpoles, Roddy in particular, for our war memorials. And unfortunately, the RSA and Kitty Kitty wanted theirs, done very quickly. And I don't think they were able to get it done. There's a process. It's not easy just to go and wake up and flagpole and like that. And anyway, so we have sourced some flagpoles, and now the Kitty Kitty RSA actually went ahead and ordered one prior to what, the staff member acquiring some. and they're in really good condition, and it's quite exciting. We'll be able to, across the district, we'll be able to supply some additional flagpoles to those villages wanting them. And it has taken time, but it does to source things, and now there'll be a process. So next year, any communities wanting additional flagpoles will get extra flags for, not just for Anzac, but particularly that's the day we highlight. So it's up to our communities that they will be coming, and obviously there will be an installation cost and a process involved in that. So whether they come to the community or not, I'm not sure as yet whether they'll do, but we know Kaikoa is outstanding, and I have indicated to Kirikiri RSA and staff that we will not be funding retrospectively the Kirikiri Domain 1 because they're finding more than purchase that.
So, through the chair, I actually started that conversation over a year ago.
Yes.
So I've been working tonight as well. And the 3 that we had was the replacement at Russell, because one of the flagpoles there had been taken away to Kirikiri, Kaikoa and Kirikiri. Those were the 3 for this ward that we were working on.
Thank you for confirming that, because I was going to check with the president of the RSA, because we have 2 cemeteries for RSA members, and we end up with like one group being kind of left without a flag. But actually, the main group hasn't got a flag anymore.
So I just went to
When you told me that, that's when I went, nah. Sort that out.
and ideally, if we know more area of any, there are a handful of them, so we won't be snaffling all the poles, but if there are any area that we know someone needs one, we'll work on that to ensure that they are part of the process, so that we can get them all installed at the same time would be excellent, instead of additional costs in different communities. And if it has to go to the community board, it can come to the board's meeting. We'll meet in the same week, so that the applications, if any, could all come all at once.
Yeah, we just had the normal, so.
And it may be that it's not necessarily a need for a war memorial, but there may be another high profile need in the community for a flagpole. So it's flagging there.
Just on
Okay.
one, when they done the renovations on it, I mean, the planner did put 3 for a flag start to be put there, but there wasn't quite enough funding, you say. The chair and myself, we attended the reopening of the area, and then explained to us that currently, because they had 1 flag staff funding, both nations relied on 1 flag staff. But I think it had home for me, because it was the servicemen that were saying that it's not a good look when it comes to flag code. Nations should have their own flag, and so they can have their own recognition. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of why we're pushing for another flag.
Important to our communities. Okay, so no further questions there. Chairperson members' reports, moved by Joe, seconded by Jane. All those in support? Against? Carry. Thank you. Moving on to item 8.1. On page 63, we have that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board received the report of the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Domain Management Committee's Annual Information 2024 to 2025. Do I have a mover? Tyler, seconder?
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Through the chair, Dallas was. The report writer was intended to come, but has just sent his apology. So he
I have questions.
Yes,
I have lots of them.
we did have questions around this, so
the meeting's in. Unfortunately not. But he did ask that any questions in that can be noted down.
okay, so I think there definitely will be questions, and just acknowledging on this, we know Moonbird Park is not in our area, and this through one asset, but it is captured in there. So looking at the next steps on page 64, I mean, this is something that going into the long-term plan as well, the annual plan, we do have grants that go to these grounds, and it has been debated in the past, and council report will report that people have talked about getting rid of grants and donations when we have our robust debates at council annually. And I think really what I have historically pointed out is the fact that the $5,000 grant that they get towards maintenance is actually a splash in the pan. You know, 10, 20 years ago, it might have mown the lawns and marked the rugby, but today, unfortunately, it's not enough. So I think when we look at getting rid of grants and donations, we have to be very mindful that a lot of volunteerism and a lot of club funds also go into maintaining these grounds, and they actually maintain them to the level of service that they require seasonally for the use and events and functions of the grounds. And I think if you look on page 80 there, Maramaki Domain, Russell Sports Club, Kalakaua Domain, all receive $5,000. And we need to ensure, I think, as the representatives, that they are aware that they could be applying or they could be making submissions along the way in the process to say that that's no longer enough, or maybe that they don't need that.
Yes, so I'm quite actively involved with the Russell Sports Club. They have a very active committee of about 10 people, a lot of young people in the community. It gives me great heart to attend the meetings and see the enthusiasm. They have had the same grant for many years. They have formally written to council many times requesting an increase in the grant. The grant actually didn't even get paid 2 years ago because council did a fast one and didn't pay the grant request until July 1st, which meant that they actually got the grant for the previous year and the new financial year on all the dates. So they actually missed a year of $5,000. And then they were told, apparently, according to the president, that no more grants will be given to them. So they haven't had their grant for this year yet. And then we have another series of issues which I'm working through with Stephen for everybody's interest. And those sports people, we have the parliamentarian team coming up to play again. It's a big event, and we want a Northland-wide enthusiastic welcome and lobbying to all of the politicians. And Ricky Gannett is very busy ensuring that they get the right expression.
Going to make sure that they drive across Florida.
That's, well, maybe, yeah, the Waipari Road. But it's a really big deal. There'll be a lot of networking. They're bringing up funders. There's a whole amount of people. But right now, the drainage that you have seen on my issues list for nearly a year, they have tried to fix it. It's not fixed. The field is really cloggy. The sewage plant is still leaking sewage onto the field. And we're about 6.5 weeks away from the parliamentarians game. The sports club have been sent a bill for $4,000 for the last lot of treatment invoice for the drainage sewage treatment thing. They can't afford that. And, you know, my view is if the council is providing a sports field, they should be providing the toilets. You can't expect people playing sports not to have a toilet facility. So, you know, there is a discussion on who owns what and all the rest of it, but ultimately I think that sorting out the sewage does need to have priority. The sports club run a gym to run money so that they can invest in the community. So not only do they have sports fields, they have a well-equipped gym. You have seen their financial results and you see it quite healthy. That is because of a one-off donation from Club Kororareka, the Rotary Lodge Kororareka, and that's been to equip the gym, which they've been doing over time. They have ambitious plans to extend their gym, and they are fundraising which will be part of the ask for the politicians when they come. So it's a vibrant, vibrant club, and to be told that they're not getting even the $5,000. So I'm here to represent them and say, can we try hard to resolve these issues and support them? Before you got some of the story, Corey, too. Yeah, Corey.
Corey, but they're actually not listed on here, but they used to be a grant, and they are the domain used to be.
Very good job. As we councillors talks there and does influence on the field, is that one or with the with the main?
Marama could be the grant normally. Marama could get the grant.
I'm just looking at it. We really need the report right here for clarification on this.
Would it be easier, Madam Chair, to let the report lie on the table on top of the report?
I think so. And
that would be
it
the
does,
next one, maybe.
it does state that the payments and grants are made after a letter of agreement is exchanged, which is attached in here, and after the presentation of the annual report to the community.
So I've heard a lot of what Jane said, raises some concerns about the process.
Yeah.
And I think it's only fair that we have the report right away in room to answer those questions.
And this is the first time, Madam Chair, that we've actually seen a report about our reserves. I've been here, Carla and I have been here for 4 years. And we've been asking about what reserves do we have. We get the town hall ones, but this is the first one. So appreciate the fact that we're now starting to get these reports.
Domains ones, yeah.
We're taking some steps forward.
Yeah. And it's good that it's coming now at a time when we're going to be going into discussions and deliberations, and we can also go out to these clubs and groups and say, look, you need to be making submissions if you need more money. Okay, so I will move that in the slide. Or Tyler, you will move that. John, seconder. Yeah. Happy to let live?
Yes.
Yeah. Doesn't support? Against? So that's carried. We'll move on to item 8.2. Maybe similar for you. Don't have anything right here. I think the key to this is because, again, halls in our district facilities are really under scrutiny around the council table, particularly when it comes to divestment. And we need to have the information to take an informed debate and discussion as to what halls and facilities are working well, you know, what are well maintained, the ones that are financially okay, that they are actually meeting the responsibilities sit with us. So it's up to us on the page 137. Just so you know, and for the new members around the table, page 137, it actually clearly states community board responsibility is governance, appointment of committee advisors, and reporting on income, expenditure and usage. So it is up to us, even though we sit ex officio or we delegate to our community or user groups, committees, it's up to us to ensure that they do have AGMs and that we do get the reporting that we require, so that we're able, or I'm able, along with the other chairs, to sit at the table and discuss and debate as to why we should keep our facilities or consider divesting. So I think the full procedures are quite clearly spelt out there in that document, and it's a good opportunity for you to take that policy. It's very, the cover letter is very short. It's 100 page, 135. It's only a couple of pages, but it clearly shows council's responsibility, our responsibility, and the committee's responsibility, and that's the page we should be studying. So I think we should probably let this lie as well.
Just can I ask, because I did spend a lot of time reading this and a lot of interest in it. there's only a small portion of the halls actually have reports. Not every single one has been submitted.
They haven't all done them.
No, actually the smaller proportion are the ones we're seeing, which are probably the ones who are meeting the requirements that we've laid out. There's a lot of them who don't have the information for them. It's been spotty.
Most of them in our ward are actually poor. They are all the ones that are council owned on council land are actually included in here. And they were all sent letters and they have all submitted. They've submitted to varying degrees. I think some have given more information than others. And that's up to us to follow up on that to ensure that they give what is expected or requested of them.
And I was unclear as well. I couldn't find Cherry Park House. And so my question was if Cherry Park House has been either it's been accidentally overlooked or it's designated as something else, and whether the other facilities and assets in the district are designated as something else and are thereby escaping attention.
I am being correct.
I don't want to think that they're special at Cherry Park House.
It is.
I just want to make sure it's not a symptom of a wider issue that something's not been designated.
We have not received under the halls policy reports from Cherry Park House on an annual basis. It is actually considered under the halls policy, and quite a bit of work has been done on it over the last term or two.
And that's fine, but that doesn't quite answer my question.
They're not reporting.
And they have got a report, and I've seen their report, and they've held an AGM, and I attended their AGM, so they're following all of the rules, but they're not included in the official declaration of halls, so they're designated as such.
Yeah.
And that needs to be rectified. And secondly, I just want to be sure that there isn't another asset that has got itself into that situation as well.
Possibly there are assets. We discover assets we didn't know that we owned occasionally.
I think we know we own Cherry Park House.
Yes.
The problem is it hasn't been officially included into a section of
it should. And as such, they are not receiving the letter requesting the information to be delivered. And
if we to go back to your comment, Madam Chairwoman, if we are to think about all of the assets and review that strategy that's been attached to the documents, we kind of need to have a holistic view of everything that we are making a strategy on behalf of.
And I agree. And I think probably
2015 was very active.
Do you have questions on this? Do you want to let this lie as well?
Yes.
Okay. But I think in the meantime, it would be helpful, Joe, for you if we made a note that Cherry Park House, that is considered a report as a community facility under the policy, that they are sent the request, standard annual request, so that they can, so we know they've got the information, we know they have a committee, we know it's very well used, the facility, so I think it would be timely to request that they supply that information.
Yeah, we can get that within the chat.
It can come back, hopefully.
I think they've got that. I mean, it's already there.
If we get Dallas to just make a note, we'll let this live. I'll move that we let this live. Second. Tyler, second. So that we have the report writer so that we can ask questions and discuss this and what we want to see moving forward. Quite often committees are asked for information and just don't give it. So, we really sit on that. We need to discuss this.
Madam Chair, to the Chair, I mean, I had a bit of a challenging committee at one point, and I got the hall policy, and I sat down with the Chair, and we worked cooperatively, and we fixed all the issues, just going through what the policy is, confirming what my role is, making sure it's put in place. So it's, there are some that are not producing, but then it's really up to community board members to sit down and demand.
Okay, so maybe we'll let that lie. Tyler seconded that. Can we just make a note that Cherry Park House be, to Dallas, please, that Cherry Park House be, sent the request form to submit their statistics and financials, etc. And we'll do that for the next meeting. Was in support? Against?
Can I just raise, you also have the delegation of cemetery. Yes. I file an annual return every single year for Panari. Where do they go? Do you know?
That's a good question.
It's been brought up before too.
Yeah, it comes up regularly and we don't receive.
We have requested a cemetery report that gives us an assessment of how many plots we've got left, how many ash burns we've got left, those sort of things.
To make a note of that on our board,
That's not we need to
open resolution sheet that we afforded the information in relation to the cemeteries.
I think that's an important part of forward planning. I understand some of our cemeteries have capacity constraint. So if there's a requirement for council to start turning in mind to future planning, how do we capture that data?
It has been asked for repeatedly. I mean, we just don't receive reports in relation to all our delegations.
But we should.
We got that captured?
Through the chair, I am just making an activity list. The only thing is because these are information reports, they won't pull through in the open resolution sheet. But I have made note of this for, say, my own action sheet, but something for me to track as well in terms of the cemetery delegation.
Can we formalise a resolution with requests for cemetery so that it gets on resolution?
It's not an agenda item, but I guess we could actually, under the
the next meeting.
well, yeah, it's the delegated, it's the annual information we should be receiving under our delegations and not receiving. And it's all very well getting even these, they don't have everything. And as Joe's pointed out, Cherry Park Council's dealt with a fall under the policy, but they're not requested to submit. How many other community facilities and how many facilities across the world that's why they sit in limbo, because they're not going to the community board. You haven't got a finger on the pulse and you don't really know how they're operating and, how.
The first time you hear it's when somebody approaches you because it's gone wrong.
Yes, because it needs an awful lot of money spending on it in maintenance. The committee has been dysfunctional and folded and nobody's really, it's just a user group, so holding it together, which happens in our rural communities a lot.
I think we're really passionate. And YouTube's really passionate about the local venue. He's really passionate about it.
I'm just as passionate about not wanting to pay to use it.
Yes, and that was we noted as well as the variance in the pay scale of what people are paying, and it felt like, I know we didn't let the issue lie, but it feels like there's an opportunity to standardise that and so that they can themselves get more money to pay for some of these fees and charges. Yeah, the maintenance facilities.
Okay, well, moving on, Maurice noted that we asked for the reports that are in hand that relate to our delegations. And we'll follow up on it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so move myself, second Tyler, all those in support? Against? That's carried. Okay. So we're now down to our open resolution sheet on page 169. Item 8.3, that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board receive the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board open resolution sheet. I will move. Do I have a second? next one here, Te Korea, that next meeting, 29th of July.
And Chair, can I just raise that through that for the committee information that I've been with just getting out of the liaison committee, which is the Committee of Northern Regional Fund. I attended my first meeting a week before last, and most of the meeting focused on something that you all may have heard of, which is called the K3A Dam. What surprised me at that meeting that I didn't know was there is legislation that should a dam collapse, there is a legal requirement that there are no dwellings or construction in the path of the dam. And I looked at the maps and I looked at Te Korea and I thought, oh, I wonder if they're talking to each other. And I don't want to say any more than that, but I don't know that the dam's ever collapsed in New Zealand, but that's the law. So whoever's on that committee.
I also received an invite to that.
Yeah, John,
I just think it's something I should keep on watching.
Sorry, did you go to the meeting?
No, I wasn't able to attend that particular meeting.
you were there or something. Oh, not the river one, the Korea. Yeah.
So the river one, they do send me an invite to, and I didn't go to the last one again. So I should perhaps, in the light of the proposed district plan and what's coming up, make an effort to get to those.
I was delighted that Ms. Worcester from planning was there, so she heard all of this. Right. But I just think it's something the community board should also have their eyes on.
Definitely, thanks for that.
Well, just one question. So, for to classify them, are we including slash on big lifestyle box or farm box?
That's a level of technicality that's well above my pay grade. I don't think it's a good question. I was just a little surprised because there's dams all over New Zealand, and I didn't realise that legislation was just.
Yeah, because we have a lot of farm box that are high, and there was an issue we had for floods where you had slash that it, obviously would drop and but then it become a dam, and so we were concerned about the farming and there were multiple houses down in the village. And so I just wanted to, that one scenario was considered a dam as well. Slash box on farm box and lifestyle things.
There's so much we don't know that we're not thinking about. Like Nancy, that who's talking to who and what documents are talking to each other.
I think we run a model every 18 months. FK is damaged way up on the top of the rings. And so because we have the closest communities that have been working relationship with whom we actually run a model. And at the same time, that models that are being run, then we have independent engineer out to get everything part of various our community into his with us. It's quite amazing what they can do now. They models, you can see how the water is going to come down the hill, and they take everything into consideration. All the setbacks and how much water is in there. And they can narrow it down to just about a meter. Being within a meter of each group. So we had a lot of heaps of legal stuff there. I got what the legal council to handle that.
Thanks so much to lose. Okay, so moving on to the next one, Kitty Domain proposal for establishment of an advisory group. That's actually can come off that part. But indeed of that, We still have had no action to date. Stephen, have we on the delegation requesting the delegation of the Kirikiri domain to the community board?
The chair for the request form has specific voting officer services, and that's in the process of developing a report that will be moved to 27. So I can't give you an exact timeline.
Okay, but it's in progress. That's in progress, so the rest of that can come on and it can stay on to.
We've got it twice.
Yes,
That one would be removed. If we repeat it over the page.
But what see in there, oh yeah, the one over the page probably has more detail, you're right, Anne, because it gives that timeline that we requested that back in December 2024. So that could come off altogether. And next one, both sites for replacement. I was actually intrigued to read that final line on there, that final design progressing with construction next LTP. That was not the directive of this.
I was going to raise that because I thought it looks like they're boxing on to plonk it onto Broad, and had the board agreed.
We asked for additional suitable sites. I think there was the consensus after our discussions.
I think we'd also ask some questions around whether Te Waitangi was suitable with regards to flooding and consenting restrictions.
Yeah.
I think there were concerns just about plonking that there where the space was tabariki and you've got a awful smell. And then it was something that took place, or big by teaching, about some of the public conversations that happened.
There was a big push story from the New Zealand MCA, New Zealand Local Association, which we're well aware of. And also, the FITs and the visitor, not the tourist to consider, not just the domestic market. And the ability to actually dump and hold, and we were really convinced that enough will be gone into it. So, but they've come back with that as the preferred site because we've pushed back on a couple of others. And saying that, I think to get this comment here could give false hope to the community who are very, very emotive about it. And to say the final design is progressing, we haven't actually, I'm not aware that we have set in concrete the site location.
Agreed.
So,
agreed. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
So why does it say that?
this is the feedback that's come from staff.
Oh, okay.
So what's our pushback on that, I suppose? Does it have iwi even been?
Yeah, that's the conversation I had was I've been a consensus from Ngāti Rītia. Yeah, just about because the management system where
That's been official chats. Some people, no, I don't think that they were in the loop.
They were due to be consulted last.
That's right.
It could well be, Tyler, that we don't have enough information here that irrespective of where we put it, they're working on the design and the final design and her design. And it's just a case of where we put it. Environmentally, can it, in zoning wise and consent wise and everything, can it go where?
Could we request an update at our next meeting?
Yeah.
the 3 slots in.
So I'm a little confused now.
Through the chair, from memory to confirm this, that when the options were presented to the board back at previous meetings, it was to receive the report, it wasn't to endorse the.
That's right, yeah.
Correct.
And subsequent measures.
Significant
discussion around the request to look at other sites beyond the immediate. So,
yeah.
And just the 4 other sites that they produced weren't necessarily the only.
Well, you have a site.
So the Cobham Road one was out of it.
an enormous amount of real estate. About 100 metres as the crow flies from here to the Canterbury wastewater treatment. Used to, as we own hectares of land in the middle of town, up on the field road. It would be outside, out of my view, any neighbours, out of the snow run, and not on a kids' sports park.
Why is this not being considered?
Well, they don't have to go through the one-way system to get there either, which was pushed back from the previous board on the Julian car park site, which is in behind Redco there, in the middle with the old, so we differed on that quite strongly actually after a lengthy discussion or two. And it was really that whole congested area and not knowing what's going on that old Mitre 10, the old supermarket site there, and bringing traffic, bringing big caravans and camper vans in around that one-way system, and getting in and out's difficult now. And just the whole build-up and, the odour and the hosing down, it just was all very, and we'd lose car parks and CBD. So we really were anti that.
We seem to do that across businesses with the council staff around us. We seem to have a view that we haven't made a final decision yet, and there's still three valid options that need to be considered. Whereas the information we've got in the documentation is suggesting no, we have endorsed a specific option, and we're not feeling that. So how do we correct this? Of course, correct this and get it back on track.
Yeah.
According to what we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Agreed, Joe.
Yeah. The design is one thing. It says here construction and next LTP.
And B says request the chief executive to continue investigations into the viable treatment options and, if appropriate, proceed with the final design and construction at Temple Waitangi. I don't recall us asking.
I think you did initially.
You did back in 2020.
And then you had to change a heart.
Madam Chair, one point I'd also like to make is that we are seeing more people unable to afford to live in their own home due to rate increases, purchasing camper vans, retiring and purchasing camper vans and kind of doing the nomad lifestyle. So I think it's not just about freedom campers that are tourists. I think we're also going to get an increasing requirement from a demographic that's part of our community that is kind of now living in mobile accommodation. So we just need to factor that in as well in our long-term thinking. I don't think that will be a different demographic wanting to use it.
Yeah, and I think the service self-contained vehicle definition has, from the 1st of July, changed. So, the stickers I see on, I believe you can print them off online anyway, so they're all for paper or not. But, it's about managing our environment, and everywhere you go, you see toilet paper and tissues and wash everywhere you're walking, be at the beach or the bush. It's pretty bad. So we need the facility, there's no doubt about that, but I do think the previous board and the current board are probably on the same page that we're not convinced it's a fait accompli that Te Waitangi was going to be the site. But at the moment, that's what staff had come up with. So
can we ask them to investigate the site that our council called has been talking about?
We have actually brought that one up and pushed back on it. Let's all discuss it over lunch. Yeah. But in the meantime, I am concerned about that update. So the staff member who has put that in there, can we perhaps have a pre-meeting at our next meeting, just a brief update as to where they're at with it? Feel comfortable if we do it in that manner? Means waiting a month.
Do we want a workshop?
We've got time. There's no funding till the next LTP. We've got time. I'm just would be concerned about how much money might get spent on engineering, geotech, or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, depends how far we've got down the track. Okay. So it would be good if we can have an update. I think separate workshops not required, but we just need an explanation as to where they're at and what they're progressing with and what they're into our
And it's clear view about how we feel about it. But they don't seem to understand where we're at.
Well, I think it's a bit deeper now. I think if they've identified stakeholders, surely we are one of them. And no matter how we sit in this, are they working with exactly it seems and we don't know about it? Is it just a communication breakdown? And perhaps they're all for the site and we should be meeting with them and discussing the support. So we don't know what we don't know. But Council, of course, certainly has been asking the questions over time and asked for consideration of alternative sites, which have not, to my knowledge, actually been really delved into. Is that correct?
Equally, I'm mindful that the caravan association is running out of, quite rightfully running out of tolerance for us.
Yeah.
So we do need to bring this to some closure.
Okay. So the next one we can remove. Application one. And then over the page, our priority list now, it's recommended that this action list be closed. I'd actually like to leave that on there. Only because when I go to look for that, I couldn't be able to find it and remind ourselves of what our priorities were.
Yeah.
And as we move on and do business ourselves, and I see the Russell's public toilets there, Jane, and I just see they've been not painted or
They're being painted this week. I'm excited.
So, we may reprioritise that. I think it's really handy to have a living list that we don't lose sight of it. So even though we're not actually anything at the moment, let's just, we're working through things.
Chair,
Yeah.
the intent for the strategic plan that we need to finalise is that it will also have a living appendix of strategic projects. So we'll be able to transfer that list
to the
list, including the business cases into a particular project.
Madam Chair, I can't see Simpson Park on this. I'm missing something.
Sorry, what was that, Jane?
I can't see Simpson Park on our list of priority project objectives.
Because it's in the current one.
Oh, we're gonna get it done next year.
That's a good point. Just because it's current, we should probably still leave us to complete. But this was, but this was actually, this submission of the LTP, so the current ones aren't included. The final one,
I was just on the CCTV, Madam Chair, just to let you know with another hat on, because I sit on the Business Association. We were working with council and putting forward a funding application to go to the proceeds of crime or CCTV for the whole district. We've now, after being disappointed last funding round that the funding was going to be entirely allocated to the police to address methamphetamine and other alcohol and drug-related harm, we were advised the fund was open. So we were successful in getting $30,000 to put the case together. We've put the case together, and we've just been advised yet again that the Minister, Van Melden, has said the entire fund is now going to go to the police again for the same reason, and there's going to be no publicly contestable proceeds of crime funding available. And we have been working with the Kerikeri Police on this. So we've written a letter to the Minister expressing our concern that you cannot keep moving the goalposts. Because that is demonstrably unfair to the community who are spending an enormous amount of time and energy on these projects. So I'll keep you posted if there's an update. Because it was my job to draft the letter. So quite a strong letter.
Thank you. And I did sit in on that Muka Head of Business members meeting, because I was chair's meeting the other day that I sat in, which was very interesting. And CCTV was one of them. And I think it is unfair to keep moving those goalposts, because even as previous community boards, we have funded a number of security cameras and upgraded security cameras. And I think it's really important having done that study, it's all about connectivity and the source and feeding the people back. And it all has to be, it has to match the system. You know, you can't have somebody putting something over there, one community putting something over there. It all has to be part of a big mechanism, the design's being done. So if we're doing things, we need to be able to look at that. Say, okay, you know, is this going to connect in with the next town and the next town?
Well, we've got communities trying to do their own thing. Yes. It's important to try and whatever they do, if they fundraise for their bit of it, do it under the umbrella scheme so that they're chipping away at the overall picture. You know,
because I want this project was led by all of the business associations, so they're all on.
Yeah, I'm aware of this, but you know, we've got a couple of people in Resilient Russell wanting to fundraise to put cameras in, and I say, you will not get funding to the community board unless you go into the big picture. But if they are going to fundraise, they could chip away and get one community done, providing the big picture stuff. If there was a specification, for example.
But yeah, that's what we need so they can integrate.
Yeah, so it could integrate.
And we just done, so Gary Lucas from Business Pioneer, he was the one that was tasked to put the master plan together for the whole district. So the work is there. I was really annoyed that they just kept changing the rules.
Yeah, there's a bit of confusion around the CCTVs too, so I'm going to put some money with the Continental Business Association or one. And so when the cameras went up, the police also put cameras up as well, and the confusion was from the community, was like, how come, like, we okayed those, but where did those ones come from? And so oversight over the cameras themselves, like, the community doesn't know who has access to, because they're two separate servers, so to speak.
It's pretty tightly controlled, Corey.
Yeah, but from the community's perspective, they were, well, we okayed those ones, but all of a sudden there's these extra ones.
Well, they're actually all fed up to Kaitaia, where they are monitored. It's the only place that they are basically monitored on a fairly, well, I think there's people are trained and certified, and it does go through quite a process, but they're pretty well monitored.
They are monitored too, but I don't understand. I don't believe that's 24/7.
No. Anyway, so it's a great initiative, and we just need to make sure that we don't fund communities going off on their own steam, putting what they want on. It's not. Okay, and finally we have the delegation, which stays on there. Is that the last one?
I'm excited to read that. We're going to get a report, June.
Yes.
For the Strand.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes,
they signed up on the design yesterday.
Yeah, it's all going nicely.
The Strand by house. We've
it's getting sorted.
Yeah, we put a date like November as being the latest date that we actually actions.
Yeah. So hopefully we're heading towards the end of the financial year with a bit of confidence that we can get closure out of some of the things that we're doing. Should be really good. And move on, look forward to moving on to just some park body and seeing what we can achieve in that space. I don't know, but I believe that we have to wait for the land designation of reserve to be those deposited plans to be altered. That's gone through council, and that'll just be a process, and I'm sure that we'll get some place later.
We thought we got to the end, but we forgot the 3 more reserves we had to put up inside of that the draft.
Yeah.
But she did say around about August should be done. So
that's still really in the financial year. Okay, so there's no further business. Will we do a closer cut again for us, please?
Pika mea wai te on closely, but I took it to Raka kia koe e te tūkana.
Tēnā koe. Yeah, kia ora, Laurie.
Tāna kia koe ki wama tine tāka kia hau, tēnei honome. He karaki tino popo tūne, he karaki a pai awa, māma, nei tito. Ke taukirangi mai ki ngā tā katoa Aotearoa, o te ao, akami e kui.
Thank you to everybody for joining us today. Apologies for the hiccups we've had in our live streaming downstairs and